A reaction to US President Joe Biden today. He called a snap press conference to defend his ability to be president after an investigation found he mishandled classified documents and suggested he was too mentally impaired to face trial. Now, Joe Biden says his memory's fine, but, well, I'd say otherwise. I played a bit of the presser just before. He confused Mexico and Egypt. Well, he doesn't have a great track record. Have a look at this.
If it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him with I don't know. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. I got them. $1.9 trillion.
Of the destruction of this magnificent planet. This conference is one of the most important meetings.
Well, it's tough to watch. And here's the mix-up between Egypt and Mexico, Nick, just so you know what I'm talking about.
My memory is not good. My memory is fine. My memory, take a look at what I've done since I become president. None of you thought I could pass any of the things I got passed. How'd that happen? You know, I guess I just forgot what was going on. As you know, initially, the president of Mexico, Sisi, did not want to open up the gate to allow humanitarian material to get in. I talked to him. I convinced him to open the gate.
Nick, Mexico's a long way from Palestine.
Look, I think that was very selective, that footage you just showed then, Steve, and frankly, I think it was a little bit mean.
Well, it's a pretty good example of what he's been like for the last couple of years.
Look, obviously Joe Biden's enemies are trying to make accusations of cognitive decline in the president. Those who know Biden... Those who know Biden well and have been close followers of US politics for a long time, like myself, will tell you that Biden's always had trouble tripping over his words, bit of a speech impediment. And so you were able to show a couple of examples of that and making, you know, accusations that he's not up to the job. I think he made a very fair point there, which was look at his track record. He actually has had a very successful presidency.
Amanda, can you straighten our friend Nick up, please? You watched it. What do you think?
I think we need to stop pretending that he's in charge. Biden is just the front man, right? They just roll him out to talk about whatever it is that he needs to read at that day on a script. But there's henchmen running the United States. There's a bunch of people doing all the work, making all the decisions, and Biden is just the one at the front. So I'd like to see all the people that are really running that country come out and we can ask them questions.
I mean, come on, this is getting crazy cooker stuff now. What, there's a secret henchman running the United States?
As a lefty Democrat type like you are, surely even you would prefer someone other than Biden to be trying to beat Donald Trump.
Well, look, you've probably got me with that question, Steve, because I do despair that the United States, supposedly the world's leading democracy, all they're able to come up with is Joe Biden and Donald Trump. I mean, I think it's a terrible choice that Americans have got there.
You'd be a Michelle Obama fan.
I would like to... I mean, there are actually plenty of other very good people in the United States who I'd like to see putting themselves forward. I mean, I think the governor of California, Newsom's very good.
Robert Kennedy.
I think Michelle Obama is outstanding.
Don't forget the independent.
Robert Kennedy.
Robert Kennedy is an independent.
Robert Kennedy,
so
not so much. Robert Kennedy, not so much.
I think he'd be great.
Not so much.
Yeah, well said, Amanda. Now, we've got new figures out today through Freedom of Information, blowouts in the NDIS. The Australian published this today. The number of participants on plans worth $1 million a year has more than doubled in the past 2 years. NDIS costs have now blown out to $42 billion. Look, it can't keep going. I should make the point here that money, Nick, is not going to an individual. That money is going toward the care of that individual. But these numbers must have, if it doesn't, there's a problem, Bill Shorten laying awake at night. How are we going to rein that in?
Well, look, as you recall, Steve, it was the Gillard government that set up the NDIS, and it was, I think, an extraordinary bit of new social reform for Australia. But the costs have grown enormously, and, you know, it's on track to be the biggest single expenditure item in the budget. So I think Bill Shorten's very across that and very, you know, good operator, and so they are taking moves to get it under control, and that needs to happen.
Amanda, I want to talk to you about this crazy idea out of the IR legislation where the government says you've got a right to disconnect. Now, the Greens managed to sneak through criminal penalties into that IR bill, meaning bosses, even you, me, could face jail if we ring one of our staff outside work hours. These people are not living in the real world, Amanda.
Well, they're not. And what's concerning is that the Labor government either knew about that, right, and let it get through, which means they hate small business, or they didn't read every single piece of amendments before they pushed it through, which means they don't care enough about the small business community in Australia, the hundreds and thousands of them, to actually take the time and listen to their cries and call-outs and read every single thing. And now we've got this schmozzle where people literally could go to prison and be fined an extraordinary amount of money. And don't forget, small business owners, 2/3 of them don't even know about the change in this legislation because there was no money spent in educating the community on, hey, this is what we're trying to do and this is how it'll impact you. And there was no economic modelling done on it.
Nick, have you got any cash in your pocket?
No, I don't.
Cash?
Not anymore,
See Bob
no.
Chatter, he tried to buy a coffee at the Parliament House Cafe.
Aussies.
At a $50 note. And I mean, seriously, cash is, surely you have to be able to spend cash.
Well, look, I actually do take cash out of the ATM to give to my kids so that they can actually learn what cash is and that it's not just, you know, points in a computer game. It's actually something that is real. But look, Australians have embraced cashless society because it's just so convenient. You know, we're all about lightweighting ourselves, aren't we?
COVID did it for us. Amanda, thanks for joining us. And Nick, also, thank you for joining us.